minutes. I'm already tired.
Stretching.
Sorry, you caught me mid-stretch. I was trying to get that out before or during the intro.
Yeah.
Good morning. Oh, boy.
That was
Just like,
a great episode. Holy crap.
it was a great episode. England looked gorgeous. Like, I loved all those red tile roofs. Like, the shots that production made were perfect. It was just, I'm like, I want to visit there. It looked so beautiful. I loved it. It looked awesome. And like Josiah said on the train, he's like, I can smell the baguettes or something about that. I'm like, yes, I want all the bread and the cheese, apparently.
I mean, what an epic France like experience.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like you said, cheese and baguettes and all the French things. Like, I know there's a lot of fans in the Tar fandom that don't love the fact that we seem to go to France so much. They're like, oh, great, another French leg. But I felt like that was a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and remember, last episode, I would have taken a loaf of bread. This I would have marked it and put cheese in your pocket for later.
I don't even know if that was on purpose because I think later you discovered it.
I felt that. I was like, oh, it's really all gooey. Anyways, all right. So it starts with they fly to Germany and then they take the train, which looked cool on the train that everyone was kind of sitting with each other. Every once in a while you would see a team, but a lot of times people were like sitting with each other and like that makes the game like humanize it. Like you're just like friends and like chatting and like getting to know one another. I'm like, oh, I love that part. That was cool.
Well, and I feel like, and somebody on the Discord comment on this, it seems like there's a new element of travel in each of the legs as well. So like in leg one, there was ferry, like then there was like the gondola or the funicular. Like this one was like an actual train ride, like sleeper train. Like I think Josiah was like, he slept for most of it. In fact, he was commenting this morning on Discord about how the reason he messed up when they got to the Council of Europe and forgot about Germany was because he's like, I slept that whole way. I forgot.
How long was the train ride?
He didn't say how long the train ride was. I feel like it had to have been a few hours.
Yeah, I probably would have been sleeping too. I would have been like, oh, here's a couple hours.
Here's a chance to sleep. I mean, depending upon when they arrived, like into Frankfurt, Germany from the airport, but then it seemed like they navigated all pretty well. They were all tightly bunched. They were all on the train together. You know?
Which was interesting that Han and Holden didn't have an additional, I don't want to think an additional challenge to do. Speed bump, thank you.
Right.
Because they got last and they've done that in the past, but they didn't do that. So this, again, I feel like I say this every episode. It doesn't matter if you're first or last, like in the very beginning of the show, anything is possible. Like Jack and Carson got to the building, whatever it is, third, walked in the door first. Oh, be there first, out the door. And again, don't think you're going first because other things could still happen.
Well, there's like
so many.
Han and Holden get to the building first, but then it's closed. So they're like, well, maybe there's a separate entrance for us as racers. Like, I think that's what they must have been thinking in their race brain or out, running around the corner or whatever.
But if they would have noticed that sign,
they would have stayed. Right.
But even when they were right there, they went up the stairs to the main entrance and it was those doors.
Yeah.
So it's just every second, like makes a difference.
Well, and I think what I've been loving about this season as it's progressed is these later legs have more elements to them. We talked about a couple of episodes ago where there was like 10 rip and reads over the course of like the whole thing. This was another episode where they had more of these ARIs, these active route infos, where you have a challenge, you have something you have to do in order to get the next route info, but it's not a detour where you choose between two tasks. It's not a roadblock where one of you do it.
Right.
You're both doing it together.
Yes.
But and Germany apparently tripped up not just Josiah, but I even heard Jonathan at one point.
Oh yeah, like, when we
raced through Germany.
if we were still in the race and went there, and the lady's like, "What are the 4?" I'm like,
Scott.
That's not me. I can't remember that. That's not in my brain. But you tell me. I would just look at you and be like. And as he's like saying the last one, I'm like, Germany. Yes. Yeah, I would not have known that. I would not have known that.
So from there, they went off to the Pont Corvée And that was where we had our twist for the episode, which was the head-to-head. Oh, thank you, Ian. Ian's saying the Frankfurt train to Strasbourg would have taken about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Okay. Maybe not long enough for my nap. Okay,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
so
hold on, pause. This is exactly what I was trying to get to, but I forgot it. My train of thought. Playtrim's like, I wish there was more active route infos in leg 5. I agree. Like, I felt like one of the frustrations about our whole when we got eliminated was it was just like,
it should have been
few steps. Like if there were a few more elements, or there could have been some
woulda, coulda,
placement
shoulda.
changes. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
okay. What were we
Okay,
gonna
so
say?
when I'm watching the previews for this, I'm thinking it's legit jousting. I'm thinking it's hiya. So watching it, I'm like, oh, there's a bar and you have to hold it against your chest, and it's like you have to make sure it's on their chest, and it's kind of a push, and it's like the gravity or whatever the motion of the boats that were already. Did you notice they went like this and then they stopped, and it was just like however the boats went. That's kind of like how you push it.
I've got a picture. Yeah.
So you would have for sure done that. And I think actually you would have done pretty good, because if you would have known this or not, I still would have reminded you to kind of what Sean said. Just like have your legs wide and like kind of like squat down to hold your weight a little bit
Center
lower.
Gravity a little bit lower. Yeah.
I don't know, but it sure was interesting to see most of the guys fail against another guy, and how, mad they were that they lost to a guy. Like, I'm like, okay, guys. Not all the guys did that. But there was a couple that were kind of like, oh, I really want to beat him.
Well, and did you notice, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, fans may have noticed this or not, but it seemed like the same one that won the previous leg lost the previous head-to-head would win the next one.
Yes, so they kind of had a little practice.
Well, no, what I noticed was that as they were going, the one that was in the other boat was the boat that was paddling more, so they had more momentum than the one that was more stable. So the yellow boat in this scene where we have Josiah, who was in 4th, going against Mark, who was in 5th, Josiah's boat was actually paddling with the blue paddles, and then the yellow boat was mostly just like pause.
So did that farther boat win every challenge?
Every time. And it's because when you have the motion.
Well, I said I saw them doing this, and then they lift up their paddles, and then that's the motion that they would be able to use their.
Yep. Oh, so Ian said, you totally noticed one boat was moving way quicker. So so they had to both paddle to get lined up, but then the blue boat or the yellow boat would stay still while the blue boat continued to approach, which gave that a little bit more force and impact. And it's because, the perpetual motion or the inertia.
I said gravity, but I meant inertia. Yeah. You're like, gravity is pulling you down, my friend. Yeah. Okay.
But I do think there's an element to bracing yourself, and like you could have opposed that force. It just was going to require more effort from the others.
Yeah.
Well,
and I felt like this head-to-head would have been more successful a few episodes ago with more people.
Yeah.
Like, maybe even the first episode, like going with different people, and then like failing, like they just would fail once and then they would get the next time. Like, I felt like it would have been a more engaging showdown if it was like more, or best out of 3 or something where it was like, I don't know. I just was like, well, that was it. I mean, it was cool. I would be cheering you on. I thought that was really cool, but I was like, that was it. Like, I wish there was more to do. And then the last team only had to wait 10 minutes.
Yeah, I felt like that was a soft penalty. Yeah. But I mean, they got out of there last. They arrived to the next spot,
which is the cheat. No.
Yeah.
The tower.
Yeah, no, it was Cheese. Cheese was next.
Was Cheese first?
Yeah, so that was the other active route info. So this is something where you've got to accomplish a thing together. 9 cheeses that you have to be able to identify.
Now, again, it's so easy for us to sit on our couches and be like, that is so easy. It did not look easy to me. Like, they all looked like that creamy. There's a couple that had little colors in it, but it all looked like white, creamy cheese to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have done 4 and you would have done 5. Like, that looked hard. That looked hard. And again, sitting at home, it's much easier for me to say if they should have used their express pass or not. But I really feel like if they would have walked in there and when Alyssa was like, everyone's here, they should have used it immediately and got the heck out of there. They probably would have gotten first place. But saying that, maybe their car would have gotten a flat tire. Who knows what happens? They could have hit a bird. Who knows what happens?
I know, a bird, right?
But for them to wait that long and then use it, I was just like rewatching it right now before the ours started, and I saw them. They're like, let's just try it one time. And I'm like, okay, I can even let's just see how well we do. Let's do it one time and then use it. I do love how they're like, babe, I think we should use it. What do you think? Like they want to make sure it's a joint mutual decision. So I do appreciate that, but I do think they used it too late. But again, you don't know it's tomorrow. Well, next week. Yeah. You don't know if you have to use it because it's a memory change.
So this express pass did expire during this leg. So they did have to use it this leg. But to their defense, you've got a detour coming. And if I've got an express pass, I'm more likely to save it to use on a detour than on other paths because detours are notoriously meant to be very difficult.
Yes. And I
think these ones were.
Yeah. Okay.
So if it's possible, he was saying cheese test definitely didn't look easy at all. Also, just listen, Judge should have used their express pass right away. And again, I don't fault them trying it once because what if they got it on their first try?
Yeah. Yeah, they could have been really good with it. But then after time and time again, I was like, oh.
This is a great question. G Gamer wanted to know, question, can you write down answers with pencil for roadblock detour or no? I think it depends on the challenge. I did see some teams as they were sequestered kind of to the side before they made their attempt, they were seeming to jot notes or write things down. For me, this is 100% a memory challenge. It was the exact same order of cheese every single time. I would have memorized what the right ones were that we already had. Process of elimination. I don't think this takes us more than maybe 3 or 4 attempts and we're out of it.
I did see that the guy would start at the back and go this way and then start this way. But I was like, the cheeses are in the same order.
Exactly the same.
For me, it didn't matter if they're like, Lori, the cheeses are in the same order. My mind does not work like that. I still would not have gotten it. It would have been this guy to help me get that challenge. But yes, I would have been eating all the cheese. Delicious.
We love trying the cheeses. Like I remember when we went to Switzerland and then in Amsterdam for our little amazing race part 2.
All we ate was croissants and cheeses and meats too. Anyways, okay. So then after the cheese challenge, they raced to the most gorgeous. Was it a cathedral? What was it called?
So it is the cathedral. It's the Notre Dame Cathedral. And 330 steps.
So knowing it was the tallest, you don't really need to get directions. It's just you kind of look at, oh, it's over there, let's go. And people can figure that out because it's so prominent in this beautiful little town. But how cool to go up those steps, 300 and something. I can't remember.
Yeah, 330 steps.
My gosh.
I can see why everyone was so winded and tired by the time
they when they're ready to glue. I'm like, yes, because that looked so tiring.
And then back down 330 steps. Unless there was a separate exit, because it did seem like that was a tight stairwell.
I felt like that was one way up. Yeah, and it might have been down a spiral or different, but I felt like that was only one way up.
Yeah. I thought Jonathan was funny. He was like, you decide the detour. I'm going to go wait in the car. He was so tired. He was done.
You're like, you actually can't leave me more than 10 feet. 20 feet,
whatever the rule is.
That'd be too easy.
This person said Han and Holden were in front for a lot of the leg until the end. They basically were mice, no pun intended with the cheese. I feel like the challenges were interesting in the fact that they allowed a lot of position changes. And that's what I feel like is classic Tar again. It didn't seem like a really straightforward, longitudinal,
But I love that. I love that it could be anyone's game. Anyone can win it and anyone can lose it. Like Brett and Mark at the thing, if they would have gotten it first, they would have got first place.
Yeah, it was so awesome. So Jack and Carson choose. So the choice for the detour was for the birds or out to dry. What would we have done?
I think we would easier was the nest, to make the nest. But if I made the nest and I just watched the show of those little ladies at the laundry, I would have been so upset with myself that I did not have that experience. So the laundry, by far the best challenge of the whole season, because those ladies stole the show. They made last night's episode the best episode because those ladies were freaking hilarious. I need someone to translate because they were either talking crap or they were talking with Jack and Kirsten the most, and they might have been saying, "Look how cute these boys are. They remind me of my grandson, or maybe my great grandson." I don't know. They were so cute and so chatty and so sassy. Oh my gosh, I just love them.
Yeah. Well, and it made me think of like what they must do while they're sitting there all day doing laundry or whatever.
They're the officers of the village. The town.
And I thought Carson and Jack played right into it perfectly. They were like, "Hey, what are you guys chatting about?" Or trying to engage with the ladies and stuff.
They totally were trying to engage because they knew they were talking about them, but they're like, "What are you saying?"
What are you
saying? Oh my gosh, they were so cute, and they wouldn't stop. They were like endless. I bet you production was just like gold mine.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it was
so Jack and Carson actually got to the Detour first, and then it was Brett and Mark that got to the Nest second. So they're in second place at that point. And then I think it was Alyssa and Josiah were third to the Nest. And then after that,
and it's interesting. So remember Josiah and Alyssa is building the nest, and that little paper thing or the little cloth thing, she kind of like tosses it out, and then they go check, and then she's like, the cloth thing needs to be in it. They will never give you stuff that you don't need. Like everything has a purpose and a reason, and everything is very it has to be to the board, and then the twisties have to be under. You have to be detailed. And I would have looked at the guide and been like, "Oh, I could build that," because they kind of did that wreath thing a couple episodes back. Do you remember when the Peach team? Anyways, they did that wreath thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just kind of like you just kind of make the thing and tie it up and add the flowers. I'm like, it's pretty easy. But again, I did watch it back when the guy did it. He lifted the board, attached the things, and turned it and put it down. Under. It was not the wreath thing was not on the board during the video of the demonstration. So I'm like, maybe that's how they got mixed up. I don't know. It's interesting because he would take it and just plop it on the ground, just the wreath. It didn't have the board, everything connected. So
I mean, if you remember from episode 4 with Pinjor, like I was already in the mindset of paying attention to every single detail. And I think that's the mistake you made. Josiah nailed it perfectly where he said, you leave halfway through the demonstration because you like, I think I've got it.
Right.
And then that causes you to miss critical little steps. And then if you don't go back and watch that critical little step again, just like with origami, you have to watch that whole sequence again. It can be really, really frustrating. Oh my gosh. Team Walla Walla, Danny's on.
Danny! Welcome.
Like, oh, no way. Are Danny
we love Danny. Yes. We love Danny and Angie both.
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, if we were doing that, like I could have been like, you go and watch. Like I could have been finished building the thing. You watch the ending because obviously we know how to. It goes in and out of the stake things. I'm like, why don't you go and finish that or finish watching it? Like we could have done that because I did see some teams kind of split up like for a couple of minutes, seconds, whatever, to do that. So maybe we would have done that. I don't know.
Yeah, which detour would we have chosen, babe? Like, I feel like we could have gone either way.
I think we would have done the nest. It seems so much easier.
Yeah.
But again, what a unique opportunity to like scrub your clothes. When was the last time you scrubbed your clothes? Like, seriously, we don't do that nowadays.
Throw them
you just throw them. And actually, I don't even do laundry. One of my teenagers is in charge. That's his family job is all the laundry of the family. So I'm like, it would be so unique to just dip it in that dirty river and like, oh, gross. And then spread out the stuff. Like it did look like it was a very unique placements of stains if it was dirt or food or crayon or whatever it was. And you just needed to find that thing and just scrub it out. But again, those ladies made it. So yes, I would have chosen Nest, but laundry looked awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Nest was probably the right choice here. And I think a lot of people are going to debate because when you see the 5 teams doing it, it seemed like the ones that did Nest definitely struggled. I think I like how Alyssa and Josiah tackled it because if you notice, they did bundles of branches at one time weaving around their nest, whereas Mark and Brett were doing like one or two at a time. Like this wasn't a weaving kind of a thing. It was a nest kind of a thing. And when all those layers are being bundled together with all of the binds, and stuff, then you didn't need to do them one at a time. So it's like,
I would have done them one at a time because I've done crafts and done wreaths, and you're supposed to do it one at a time. So I would have taken maybe one or two branches to make it look nicer. Like they had said, it looks like an art piece when theirs was, I can't remember what Mark and Brett said theirs was like an art piece, and they said just that they were just kind of throwing theirs together.
Right.
And that kind of goes along with what Hold was saying. You got to do it just good enough. Like put the branches, kind of just tie it up. Like you just need to do it good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. But then maybe that time it does have to be one branch at a time. I don't know. I would have done one or two branches at a time because of my crafting background, which is very limited. But making wreaths and
like
stuff,
weaving baskets or something. Yes.
Well, I never made a basket. I made wreaths, honey. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But and maybe you would have grabbed a handful and I've been like, oh, we can do that. I don't know. Or I might have looked over at Brett and Mark and been like, no, I think I'm doing it right. They're doing it same as I don't know. I don't know. But
this is a good question. Do you know any racer who took very long to watch the demonstration so they could finish the task in one try? I don't know how effective a strategy this is, but maybe that's an idea. Yeah, I think that's tough. Like with origami, you couldn't really watch it the whole way through because there were too many steps to try to memorize. But with drumming, with Bernie and I, absolutely, that was my tactic. Like it was more important to watch and get the whole thing nailed down before even making the one attempt than
But with the demonstration being so close, someone could have been making it while someone's finishing watching it. Like they allowed that. So maybe
I do like Brad's idea here. He said he would have asked a local, and then whichever detour was closer to the pit stop, that's maybe which one they would have chosen. Like if it seemed like the two detours were similar in difficulty, like maybe positioning.
But on the church, on the stairs, they have to say which detour they're doing.
No, because you can switch.
But most everyone says the detour. I mean, of course you can switch, but they say the detour right then, and then they leave that area.
That's true.
So once they're thinking, I'm doing this detour, that's in their head. They're not going, okay, I'm just pretending I'm doing that detour. Now let's find directions of which detour is the closest. I don't think anyone's thinking that. But
that's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, next level there. This person said, me and my mom were talking last night. We would have done clothing if we were on that season. Yeah, I feel like clothing was definitely more fun. While hard and like task heavy, it reminds me of like what the wood carrying probably would have been like. And some of those are the detours we gravitate towards because it's like brute force. Like we know we can finish this. Yeah, there may be a judging element. Is it really clean? But if you notice, they just let you re-clean the few you didn't get clean.
I know.
So maybe that was the easier task. Like, I don't know.
I wish they showed like a clock, exactly what time it is, and you just never know.
Well, some of the Discord people are really good about watching those wristwatches.
Oh, they sure are. The season and all the watches when they were in Barbados, I remember that the clock
and
tower,
the clock tower in the background.
I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are intense. I love it.
In fact, somebody was commenting on Discord. They were like, Han and Holden need bigger wristwatches because we can't figure out when they're arriving at some of these places, like the other teams that they can use.
Oh my gosh. Which just really quickly about the wristwatches. So from our season, we call them sassy glasses. But the purple team that was eliminated on leg 1, they wore 2 watches. They wore the watch, and I don't remember which side was which, but the one watch had the time of their home. So they always knew where their kids and their family of their hometown. And then the other watch was what time it was in that different country. And I'm always like, oh, I love that. But if Discord didn't know that, they'd been like, wait a minute, is it 2:30 or is it 12:30? Like that would have been funny for them to try to figure that out.
All right. So Danny says, I was pretty upset the non-elimination leg didn't have a speed bump.
Crazy.
And
that's
Brad echoed the same thing. No speed bump, no taking away money. Like, so the thing maybe you guys don't know, the last time they had a non-elimination leg with no consequence whatsoever, season 4.
Wow. Like that was a long time ago, people.
And it started after that where they started like, we're going to take away all your clothes or we're going to take away your money and you got to like go out and beg. And I think some fans got a little frustrated about that whole element because they're like, we're from a first world country in these third world countries and we're begging them for money.
That's like, hard to watch. I remember that. Yeah, I
bad,
didn't like that.
you know. But I do feel like, well, first off, some people were also saying that they were surprised there wasn't more of a reaction at the airport when Haunted Holden showed up. But my thinking is everyone was told that the twist of the leg was a non-elimination leg when they arrived at the pit stop. So I think that's why
They
everyone kind
weren't.
of already knew that
I don't
Haunted
know.
Holden weren't getting eliminated. We don't know that for certain. We haven't heard that from any of the teams, but it seems to me why like nobody
Yeah,
was
no one
really
was surprised. I agree. I was wondering why no one was surprised. So, and maybe they didn't have to do both of the challenges, but there should have been something slightly different, like 12 cheeses. I don't know if it was like an additional 3 pieces of clothing at the washing or a whole other little mini thing, but it was surprising because if they had to do that, then maybe Mark and Brett would not have been eliminated.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? So from there, they finished their detour, their racing. I mean, aside from Carson and Jack, who won the leg, congratulations, guys. Like, that was awesome. They won a trip to Finland, right? Helsinki, Finland. But then everyone else, I think, arrived thinking they were in last place.
Which blew my mind that especially Alyssa and Josiah. So first of all, I love that they were just like driving and they can see it and they're like, let's just stop our car right here and run. Like, I love that. They they know they're in last place and they still are like, let's run. Like, they did not give up. They weren't like, oh, we were last. Like, let's just walk up this hill and see Phil. They were still like giving it their all, which I'm like, I love. And then Phil, of course, milks it, which it's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like, you're team number 2. And they're like, what? And blown away. Like, I was so happy for them. Like, it was tear. Like, I had a little tear in my eye. Like, it was fun watching them being so surprised. But I love how they just parked their car in the middle of the field.
In the middle of the field. I know. So Josiah was on Discord, and if you're not on Tar Hub, the Amazing Race Hub on Discord, it's an awesome community, lots of fans, lots of racers, a lot of people talking in there. Josiah was on there because he said he had the day off from work this morning. He was answering some questions, and he was talking not only about the lady on the ATV who was out there having a smoke and directed them where to go.
She was on break.
But he said that there was literally directions that said the additional information didn't say you must park in a designated area. It said you may or you should. Maybe that was the word, should. And so because there wasn't a must, you could really park wherever you wanted. And in fact, some people could park at the very bottom of the hill and run the entire way up. They chose to drove about halfway up the hill, but even then running through the vineyards was like a lot of work.
Yeah. It looked like a very steep hill. But I love that. I was wondering that. So I knew it had to say something in the clue that it didn't say you have to park your car here, because a lot of times it does. And then they would have been penalized. But I love that they thought they were in last place and it still didn't deter their attitude. They were just like still so focused and surprise, your team number 2. That was so great.
So exciting. And then from there, I mean, we have Jonathan and Anna third, and then Haunted Holden 4th, and then Brett and Mark 5th. Oh, tough. I mean, so you teased last week that there was this big thing that we were going to reveal on our live.
I thought we would first talk a little bit about Jonathan and Anna before.
You can do that.
I'm not going to use my platform to talk about what happened, not even bash, to tell the truth of what happened in last night's episode. I don't want to give it too much weight. It was this is something we've been watching the whole season. It was really unfortunate to watch. I knew it was coming because I had heard from other teams, other production had told me stuff that was going to happen. And then people that had already interviewed him and knew, like, there were some TikToks and other things that had come out. It's really sad and unfortunate. There's two. I'm not trying to say this is okay, but nobody knows unless you've ran the race of how intense and how crazy it is and how it's overwhelming. Again, I'm not trying to say he's okay with what he said. And even Han and Holden kind of had some choice words with each other. But we do need to give a little leeway of the, if you have not been on the Amazing Race, you cannot 100% say they're completely in the wrong, because it's such a unique situation to be in. Watching them, knowing they're on camera and him saying certain things to his wife, just
breaks your heart.
It breaks my heart. It's so sad, and it makes me think, if the camera's not on, what is he saying to her? Like, it's just as awful and sad. I was reading a little bit from yesterday again that someone was like, she just doesn't like stick up for herself. And I don't think it's that. I think she does. She is a strong, amazing human being. I think she knows the cameras are on and she doesn't want to make this confrontation even bigger. I don't know.
Even
That's
bigger.
my guess or 2 cents. It's just sad. It's heartbreaking. But at the same time, when everyone is saying how awful that is, Han and Holden were pretty vocal and pretty. And I was talking to Scott about this again. He was at work, and so we watched it separately. And everyone's talking about one team, and I'm like, so is it okay that if you're a brother and sister or friends that you can talk and belittle and kind of bash each other? And if you're married, it's not okay. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just posing a question to you. I mean, I don't think in any situation it's right to do that, but everyone is kind of saying it's okay. It was more so one team than the other, 100%. But no one's talking about the feistiness between or they are only talking about the feistiness between one team versus another, which both were kind of brutal last night and it was hard to watch. It kind of makes the Amazing Race, I don't know, just feel a little bit heavy and sad. Like I remember there was I can't remember where cute Brett like did a little song and dance. I think it was that when Mark was doing the javelin. And I was like, they're just so
There's the energy.
they just yes, it's and even um Jack and Carson. Jack's like, I'm in my element. This is so relaxing. I'm driving. He's in the back. Like they make it like fun. Like I want to apply to be on this show. Like I want to do this. Like they make it fun, and production makes it fun. Have the beautiful places and the cool challenges and finding those unique ladies. Like love it, love it, love it. But then some of the parts,
it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
And I think it's not fair to judge an entire relationship based
Correct.
on moments depicted on a screen during a stressful situation. So for people to say, like, I remember last season with Amber and Vinny, and people were like calling Vinny's work and like telling him he should be fired because of how toxic masculinity he is and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think it's a far reach to categorically judge a relationship or a couple based on things that are depicted a certain way when we're at, I mean, I remember during episode 4 when we were in Bali doing that pinjor and people were lighting us up because they're like, oh, here's trouble in paradise, or
we're like, no. But Amber and Vinny are happily married. I will tell you that. I know that personally. They are happily married and they're fine. What else did you say? I was going to say something else. What you had just said. Dang it.
Well, judging the whole book by the cover, right? The whole idea that like
right. So they literally are filming you for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, each team, and they're only showing about an hour, and per team they're showing like now they're showing a little bit more time because it's less and less people, but 5 or 10 minutes, and of course they're getting the nitty gritty of stuff. Again, he did say those words, so of course it's not that they're editing. I don't think they're editing it. He said them or he didn't say something. Like he walks away or he like rolls his eye, like he does stuff, and they're showing it. Again, I agree with Scott. Like just because they're showing, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. It's heavy.
Yeah, I think the difference is to like Lori and I have moments where we argue too. Like it didn't get depicted on the race nearly as much, but we also know that there's times when we chalk it up to just the stress of the situation and we give each other the grace or the benefit of the doubt that like, okay, that was just a moment, like let's move on. But I think there's ways to uplift each other. There's ways to bring each other down. Laura and I just chose a perspective when we were on the race that we wanted to constantly focus on the positivity. We're not out of this. How can we lift each other and give each other a chance to do better?
Which Yes, every single team on The Amazing Race has done that, has shown that. Mark and Brett have shown that even when they were in last, they knew they were in last. They still had each other's backs. Alyssa and Josiah were like, I love you, babe. Like, we got this. Like, they thought they were in last and they still had each other's backs. The thing that's even harder to watch is when Jonathan falls into the water and she's like, you got this, babe. Like, it's all right. He doesn't take accountability that he failed at that. He did say something about it on the mat, but it wasn't like it was she like spoke up like, oh, I couldn't get my bearings were, she always is trying to take the blame when I'm like, yeah, it's okay to be frustrated and to even fight and argue with each other. Like, that's totally okay. But it's like, first, I mean, you got to take accountability, but then like the respect of, okay, sorry, babe. In that moment, I was like, you're a stupid idiot. And now I'm like, I like, we got this. And there was never that coming back and yes, we got that. Like, even at the end, they did that awkward, like, high five. And I'm like, oh, it just was hard to watch. Okay. Anything else? Are we done with that?
I like this. Han, breathe. Holden. We're not criticizing Han and Holden, despite how much they bickered, because we like allow them to, because they're brother and sister, they're siblings. Like, there's, like Lori said, it's almost like there's a double standard there where it's like, okay for siblings to bicker, but as soon as a couple bickers, now all of a sudden it's like a toxic relationship, So I think we just have to like pump the brakes a little bit. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, just like.
But then again, all of us watching need to give those teams more grace. Yep. Because it is a very high especially this one with everyone so close. You're in first, you're in last, you're in first, you're like, oh, like, it is very stressful. Knowing firsthand, it is a very stressful situation.
All right. This was S. Clay's comment about we were finally going to share this thing that we've been.
Yes. Right? Oh my gosh. We've been holding on to this for weeks. Okay. So back on episode 5, if you could recall, the pink team was eliminated. I know. Yes. Boo-hoo. So sad. But if you can remember
Well, hold on. Pause for a second. Pause for a second.
I thought I was just going to get right into it.
I wonder if any fans have figured it out. Like, does anybody think they know?
I thought they would.
Teasers along the way.
I thought they would from my last episode when I teased that. I thought the sleuths would be like, let me figure this out. It's not that deep, you guys. It's not that hard to figure out. Like, if you know where we were eliminated to last night.
Yeah.
Come on, where's Dom? How does he not figure this out? Where is Dom? Where is reality TV fan? Where's TV? I mean, come on, you guys.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead. Continue with what you're saying.
We were eliminated in the double U-turn. Who voted for us in the double U-turn? Besides, who voted for us in the double U-turn? It was Nick and Mike. Oh, they were eliminated. It was Erica and Melinda. Oh, they were eliminated. It was Han and Holden. They were almost eliminated.
On the elimination leg.
They tried to eliminate them and then they were not eliminated. And then yesterday or last night was Mark and Brett, who also voted for us, and they were eliminated. It is the Scott and Lori curse. Again, this is something silly and funny that Scott and I figured out, but we were like, oh my gosh. Besides, right after us was Pops and Jeff, and they were eliminated. They didn't have anything to do with the Lori and Scott curse. But then the rest of the teams, boop, 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 boop. Off you go, my friends. You voted for us.
Karma is a B. No, all in good fun. I mean, anytime you get eliminated, you're always kind of like trying to figure it out. What did we do wrong? That was outside of our control. I mean, yes, Coral was our kryptonite. We will forever hate Coral, even though we love so much going snorkeling and stuff. But the fact that there was a Survivor element, and I was talking about this with some friends, Lori, as much as you've wanted to be on Survivor, I almost feel like it's fitting that now we got
I was voted off
in episode 5.
Yes, I've auditioned for Survivor the last 6 years. And literally when I was so we got eliminated in Bali, we fly to Amsterdam. When we stayed in Amsterdam in Switzerland, I even messaged Jesse Tannenbaum. I'm like, when can I apply for Survivor? I was like already ready. I'm like, bring it on. I am ready. Knowing that 50 is coming. So I'm like, it's be after 50. We'll see.
getting voted out of The Amazing Race isn't enough. You still want the experience of surviving.
Yes, I need the experience of everyone writing my name, not the pink team. It's just Lori this time.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man.
So yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Like when we were thinking about, what happened around that whole W turn vote, and then we started hearing as teams were going out, we're like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Like, could this be this?
Okay, hang on. I did not figure this out. I don't. My mind again. I'm not strategic. My mind does not think that way. He was like, oh my gosh, this person. I don't even think you told me until Mark and Brett were eliminated. I can't remember. When did you tell me that? Again,
yeah.
Thank you.
Let's start a campaign. Get Lori on Survivor. Hashtag. Anyways, okay. What other questions you guys have? So I've got a few that we were missing. So let me figure out if I can scroll back. Yeah, here we go.
Wait, did you write that? The Lori and Scott curse with our Lori's bad luck? Okay. I was like, is one of our kids online under our name?
Under our account.
I was like, what is happening?
So this person wanted to know, do they tell you in the clue how far away each detour is?
No, I guess sometimes they give you more information than others, but there's always a lot of more information, but I don't think it tells you exactly you'll be driving for 45 minutes. I don't know. What do you think, Scott? You have a better memory.
No, so yeah, there's additional information on that whole separate page, and it can be half a page. It can be a page and a half sometimes, as far as like the extra information that they're giving. They never give you distances or times. They just give you more information about how to pull up the location you're trying to go, or like where you might need to park if there's a certain area or what have you. So yeah, you've got to figure that out by asking people or just figure it out on your own. So sorry, I'm looking to see if there's any other questions that we've missed.
Well, let's talk about what's coming up next week.
Oh, yeah.
This is very exciting. We are headed to New York City with most of the teams. This is going to be a fun reunion. Seeing these teams, we're meeting up in New York. So on Wednesday night and then on Thursday night, they're going to be 2 episodes. Wednesday night and then Thursday night is the finale, and you will know next week who the winner of The Amazing Race is. It's one of these 5 teams.
4 teams now.
These 4 teams.
So if you want to join us, there is opportunities where you can buy tickets by going on tar37.eventbrite.com. It's, I think, $10, but it is for the 2-night pass, and it just covers like the cover charge and some of the basic stuff that they've had to kind of, secure. But exciting because there's also a bunch of our TAR family that's going to be coming out from previous seasons. So it's not just, 12 out of the 14 teams from our season are getting together. They've committed. We already have a bunch of other TAR alumni that are planning to come to New York and see all of us. You've already seen it teased if you're watching Purple Pants podcast, but Brooke is actually going to moderate a reunion special for our season. With some extra juice and spice that may get spilled there. So
that'll be fun.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
She's awesome. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah. For those who want to join us, grab a ticket, come see us. We'd love to meet you all. It would be a lot of fun.
It'll be so fun. It'll just be so fun to be with our contestants of 37, but then like all the ones on that far page, there's like movie stars. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I watched them on TV. Like, I can't wait to meet them and to, it'll be so fun. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I think that's a tag at me. Time to visit your 8 sons who voted you to the W turn in the finale. My comment about my sons would never vote for me. Yes, I was a little over dramatic during that moment. And Lori was like, they're not our friends anymore. They totally are.
Well, but I meant that to one team and not to everybody. Anyways. Okay, something else that's going on later this afternoon. We're going to post it later this week, or when are we going to post it? With our
probably Friday or Saturday. Yeah,
okay.
Depends.
We are doing another. It won't be a live. It'll just be a talking in depth about this episode in Strasbourg with the Strasbourg band himself.
Yep, Joel, from the Joel and Garrett from season 35. So he's going to be on our show, and we're going to do a special recap episode of more of the details, talk about more of the stuff that's going on. But he actually has personal experience in Strasbourg, France, that I want him to tell you about. So I'm not going to give away too much of the story, but tune in for that special recap. We haven't been doing those recaps like we had wanted to, with, like we said, with travel and all the other stuff.
I know, we just got busy. Sorry.
We're definitely planning on trying to bring that back, at least for this experience, because Joel's super fun. And
yeah,
it's going to be cool.
So the two teams that are not going is Jonathan and Anna, and then the red firefighters, Mark and Larry.
Santa Claus isn't going to be there. So sad.
They will all be missed. It'll be fun to get us all together. I don't know another time that all 14 teams would ever come together again. So that's unfortunate that the other two teams can't come.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, guys, we love you guys so much. We appreciate the fact that you tune in. We're hoping to still try to do these lives next week when we are in New York. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get on and still do them. It might have to be an hour or two earlier, like watch the vlog to see specifically what time.
And I'll share on my Instagram as well. But it might be some random time and we'll just have to post it. So we'll see how it works out. Because we have a lot of activities planned with our season. Like we're doing this. We're doing like all these. So I'm like, maybe we'll do it with everyone there. Who knows? And kind of go around and talk to people. I don't know. Like ask them what their favorite part of being on the season. Maybe that'll be fun. Maybe we should do that instead. Like talk about the episode a little bit, but then be like, what's your favorite part? Like what did you
that would be fun.
That'd be fun. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that.
All right, guys. We're gonna end the stream, but we love you so much. We appreciate the fact you're coming on. And we'll see you later.
Do you see S. Clay's comment?
Oh, no. Let's see. Is Amazing Race All-Stars next? We don't know. So there was an announcement yesterday.
Tell me about that announcement.
So yesterday's announcement, there is going to be a fall Amazing Race. So that's exciting to have that back because we skipped fall because of the summit. We are having season 38 is going to be returning in the fall like we had hoped. Unfortunately, we don't have Amazing Race in the spring, though. Apparently, Padme is going to do her cooking show, which could be a lot of fun. But I know a bunch of people are bummed that we're not going to get back-to-back Amazing Race. So season 39, which currently they're wrapping up casting for, and I think they're going to be filming in like September, October, isn't going to be on the spring.
Maybe they're going to do it like they filmed it for us between Mother's Day and Father's Day. Yeah. Maybe they're just filming it early to get it out of the way. I don't know.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. There's speculations about season 40 is still that, just speculations. Nobody knows anything. But hopefully there will be a returner season soon, and hopefully we'll get our redemption, our unfinished business.
That'd be fun. Yeah. I would do it in a heartbeat.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap up, but thanks so much. See you later.